Guys, for the people that are on, we will wait on House Communications to kick us off here, or not to kick us off, to get us started.
Good morning, Rick.
Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Yeah, keep kick.
Betsy, are you on with us?
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Chairman, I'm here.
Okay, there you go. Well, I was actually referring to Betsy over in House Communications, but I see involved as well.
This happens all the time, Mr. Chairman. I get a lot of her emails too.
Yeah, you should just, it doesn't matter what you call me, just call me. So, well, I was actually trying to find out, is anybody from House Communications on here with us yet?
It says that we're live, but I don't know if we're actually, well, yeah, we're definitely live right now.
So
This is
I suppose, let me do this. I think if we could get everybody to mute to get us started here, and I can confirm that we are broadcasting the way we're supposed to, I'll get the meeting going. To confirm, Brad, are you here with Georgia Lottery?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Okay, awesome. Y'all bear with me for 1 second. Okay, I'm getting a note here.
Chairman Martin, this is Betsy Theroux in House Media, and I am here.
Oh, awesome. That's what, so we're ready to go then, Betsy?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if everybody would turn your mic off, I'll get us kicked off here, and we will try to make this as quick as possible. So if everybody would mute, I'll go ahead and call us to order here. Thank everybody for taking the time to be with us. This is the first time I've seen some faces since March 16th when we were together last on Monday. I hope everybody is doing well, and look forward to getting back to the work for the people. What I want to do today is let everybody know the format we're going to try to have for the meeting. We're going to use very much the same format that House and Senate appropriations used last week, where this is going to be a bit of a presentation style agenda and meeting. And if you all would submit questions, we have 4 speakers. If you would submit questions, we would take those questions. And at that point, we will send those guys, send those questions to the folks that we're working with at the various agencies, and we'll get our answers back, and we'll reconvene most probably next week to have those answers and to go into further detail. So we're going to try to do that in a presentation format today. Also want to let everybody know we are streaming. This is being streamed via House Communication Services and Media Services. So just to make everybody aware, everybody looks good that I'm seeing on TV, but just make everybody aware that anything in your background will be part of the public domain after today. So just in case somebody's running around behind you, warn them that they're going to be recorded in the House Library for posterity. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and start and ask Brad if you want to go ahead and bring up and share your screen. This should happen. And I'll turn it over to Brad Bohannon at the Georgia Lottery. Brad is going to update us on what they know so far from March and April about the lottery revenues. And while it's a little bit different, I don't want to steal Brad's thunder, it's not the revenue drop-off that we've seen in other areas.
Yes, sir. Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Thank you so much. Don't know if you have the ability to see my screen. I'm attempting to share it.
Yeah, Brad.
It's not showing up there.
I see something now.
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. Do you or media services have the option of sharing that video?
Yeah, I actually see your
The
screen,
slide?
Brad.
Okay, wonderful. Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, it's showing in a PowerPoint format, but we can see.
Okay.
There you go. Please continue.
Great. Well, thank you. Good morning again, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate the opportunity to join you and members of the committee today, and thank you for the opportunity to be able to provide a brief lottery update and what we hope is some good news and positive trends in regards to Hope and Pre-K dollars. Like everyone, the lotteries had to make some operational changes over the last couple of months. But as we do and would in any environment, the Georgia Lottery remains committed to its mission and focused on its mission to maximize revenues for Hope and Pre-K. We know and understand that Georgia's students, families, and communities across the state continue to rely on the educational programs that the lottery dollars fund. And go into the slide just to provide some context and kind of set the stage of where the lottery was at the end of February and early March. The lottery was on pace at that time to set a 9th consecutive record year in terms of sales and profit return to the state. Sales were up almost $5.5 million year over year at that time. And while that would be significant in any year, it was especially significant this year because if you remember, we were competing against an almost record $1.5 billion jackpot from 2019. So going into March, we did see sales grow from what they were in February. However, we did see declines in sales compared to March of 2019, and we did perform lower than what was forecasted for March of 2020. That being said, even with declines in those areas, total year-over-year sales and third quarter profit were down just over 2% after the first week of April. And a big reason for that was that iLottery sales, or our online sales, were up 50% for the third quarter and 50% to this same time last year. Again, just to provide some context on where we are now that I'll share with you shortly. At the end of March, the updated profit projection, the profit return to the state, was reduced to $1.058 billion for FY20. Now I'll get to the good news. As players became more familiar with online play availability, and most of our retailers remained open because of all the other services that they provide and their ability to institute all the necessary guidelines. And while most other forms of entertainment were limited, April sales rebounded extremely well. April 2020 saw a record April for the Georgia Lottery, and sales actually outpaced April of 2019 by almost 2%. And while sales are still down in terms of total year-over-year sales, we did make up significant ground and continue to make up significant ground. We have seen that April trend continue into May. We are now seeing increases across all product lines, not just iLottery. Going into May, the Georgia Lottery experienced the highest sales week for this fiscal year and the 5th highest sales week in Georgia Lottery history, only to be surpassed for this fiscal year by sales from last week. Obviously, that trend has resulted in updated projections. We continue to project conservatively and monitor daily, and we'll update again after what we see in May as we continue to learn and know more. There are still some unknowns, but based on what we're seeing in the state and across the industry, the Q4 forecast for returns to the state was increased almost $50 million from what we had anticipated at the end of March. And that's in terms of profit return to the state, not just sales. Additionally, the increase for Q4 has resulted in an updated total return dollar figure for FY20. As mentioned previously, at the end of March, that number was reduced to $1.058 billion for the year. Now we feel very comfortable increasing that number to $1.113 billion, which is down from the original $1.21 billion, but by less than $100 million. And while again, competing against that almost record $1.5 billion jackpot from 2019. Because of that jackpot, that $1.212 billion figure was going to be difficult to reach in normal circumstances. But again, based on what we're seeing in early May, almost to mid-May now, we feel very confident that we'll be able to share another updated increased number at the end of May. And one other thing I wanted to mention, because we have received some questions, is that we do continue to process all prize claims, all winning prize claims through the mail, and in some circumstances by appointment for larger tier winners at the headquarters office. We're also making strides in evaluating currently how to reopen district offices safely to process prize claims through appointment only in the very near future. And with that, again, thank you for the opportunity to join today, Chairman and members of the committee. And I will turn it back over to you unless you need anything additional.
Brad, thank you very much. That's a great update. You know, that's while it's down, as you said, a little bit less than $100 million. That's against a record FY 2019 with a huge jackpot recorded into that, which drives sales. So we really appreciate that. I personally have great appreciation for what you guys have done in order to keep that going and do it safely, so that the players and the people that need to pick up their winnings have been able to do that. The bank wasn't closed, if you will, and yet y'all provided that service to them, you know, in a safe manner. And I think, you know, we would also be thankful for our retailers to process everything that they've done for our citizens around Georgia, but also to handle the lottery games that pay for Hope Scholarship and pre-K, so that that can continue. So thank you very much. I'm sure
Absolutely.
that we'll probably get some questions from the committee on this, and we'll follow those on to you and invite you back when we get together in the next week or so.
Thank you, Chairman.
Don't forget to unshare your screen, because we're going straight away to Chris Green with the Georgia Student Finance folks. Chris, are you with us?
Yes, sir, Mr. Chairman.
Are you? I don't know if you have sharing. There you do. You have the floor, my friend.
All righty. Well, good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the committee. Thank you for the opportunity to provide an update today. For the record, my name is Chris Green. I serve as the Director of External Affairs for the Georgia Student Finance Commission. Chairman Martin asked me to provide an update on changes to the state-funded dual enrollment program and to share with the committee some of the changes that we've made to program deadlines to better support students as a result of COVID-19. First, I would like to provide an update on changes to the dual enrollment program since we last convened back in March. Committee members, let me apologize. The next few slides will look very familiar, but I wanted to include them because I think they provide some helpful context for any guests that may be watching with us today. So just as a quick recap, General Assembly gave final passage to HB 444 back in March and was signed by the governor in April. The bill is effective for this coming summer term, 2020, and changes three primary provisions of the state-funded dual enrollment program, including approved courses, eligibility by grade level, and implementing a 30 semester hour funding cap with exceptions for students pursuing a high school diploma through option B, as well as a new pathway for students that want to use Hope Grant funding as a bridge to pursue additional post-secondary coursework. Number one, just changes to the approved courses. As a quick reminder, the eligible courses will include those core courses of English, math, science, social studies, and foreign languages. These are the ones that are known universally across high schools as the ones that count for Hope eligibility. And then CTAE courses, career technical and agricultural education courses. Just to put this in perspective, of about 8,000 courses on the dual enrollment course directory, eliminating about 600 mostly health and PE type courses. Moving on to grade level eligibility, of course, ninth graders no longer eligible to participate in the state-funded dual enrollment program. 11th and 12th graders may take any approved dual enrollment course at a USG, TCSG, or private post-secondary institution. 10th graders may participate under 3 scenarios. So number 1, if the student participated as a 9th grader, in other words, we paid an invoice for that student prior to this summer term, they would be allowed to continue participating as a 10th grader. Scenario 2, those 10th graders who want to take core academic coursework have to have either a 1200 on the SAT or a 26 on the ACT. And then finally, any 10th grader may take CTAE courses at any TCSG institution. And then finally, of course, House Bill 444 implements a new funding cap of 30 semester hours or 45 quarter hours for new students. And as a friendly reminder, the per term maximum of 15 semester or 12 quarter hours will continue to be in effect. Just to recap how the new bill will impact students currently in the pipeline. So essentially every student gets an additional 12 hours at least. So those students with 18 semester hours or fewer, they have the remainder of their hours up to that 30 semester hour cap. Students with 19 semester hours or more, wherever they are on their dual enrollment journey, they get an additional 12 hours as well. As a friendly reminder, those students that are pursuing a high school diploma under option B, this is the program formerly known as Senate Bill 2, those students are not subject to this funding cap. So what about students who want to take additional post-secondary coursework after they reach the state-funded program limit of 30 semester hours or 45 quarter hours? Essentially, students have 2 options, which I've highlighted there. Number 1, any student can dual enroll in any post-secondary coursework at their own expense. GSFC certainly has no intention of regulating the academic practice of dual enrolling. We just want to be good stewards of the state-funded program that you all have entrusted to us. And then wanted to highlight for you the second option there, Hope Grant Bridge Pathway. As I alluded to this earlier, but students who are pursuing a technical diploma or certificate program of study in one of those 17 high demand areas, we say 17 areas, but these encompass hundreds of programs of study that are eligible for that Hope Career Grant. So these students that reach that 30 semester hour cap may receive Hope Grant Bridge funding to continue working towards that diploma or certificate program. And then finally, last update on the dual enrollment program. Did just want to share with the committee that we've been working very hard over the last several months to make the dual enrollment process even more user-friendly for students and families. So on March 3rd, we launched phase 1. As all of you know, administration of this program requires collaboration not only between our agency and students and families, but also high school guidance counselors and post-secondary academic advisors. And so phase 1 really included a new dashboard interface to make that process more user-friendly for all the participants. And then phase 2 is scheduled to launch next week and will include all of the policy changes from the legislative session, as well as this new Hope Grant Bridge portal. Finally, this morning, I did just want to share with the committee some changes that our agency has made to program deadlines to address standardized testing cancellations that resulted from the public health declaration. First, for Zell Miller Scholarship, students are required to have that 3.7 Hope GPA and a minimum 1200 on the SAT or 26 on the ACT. Normally that is required by the time of their high school graduation. While many students in the class of 2020 already took the SAT or the ACT before the public health emergency caused testing cancellations, we certainly recognize that it's possible students did not get a chance to take the test or wanted to take the test again to continue to strive for that necessary score. And so the deadline for those test scores has been extended 7 months to the end of this year, December 30th, to give students some additional time to get those test scores in. And so in practice, the way this will work is students can receive the Hope Scholarship, which of course does not have that test score requirement. And then once they get those qualifying test scores in, we will work with their post-secondary institution to make sure they are awarded the Zell Miller Scholarship retroactively. Similarly, for the dual enrollment program, again, this only impacts those 10th graders who want to take that core academic coursework as a 10th grader, but they would also be required to have that 1200 on the SAT or 26 on the ACT prior to that first term to mirror the changes that were made for Zell Miller scholars. Similarly, have given these students also to the end of the year to submit those qualifying test scores, and we'll work with their post-secondary institution to award those funds retroactively. And just as a friendly reminder, any 10th grade student can still take those CTAE courses from any TCSG institution with no test scores required. In conclusion, if I could just share our website, www.gafutures.org. This, of course, is our one-stop shop for students and families. We've launched some additional resources specific to COVID and changes that we've made that we hope will be helpful to students and families over the summer. And so, Mr. Chairman, with that, I will turn it back over to you.
Chris, thank you very much. You guys have had a lot to do, and given the circumstances, you've done a great job doing that, in my opinion. I want to give a shout out to the commission. I had specifically someone call me with a rising 10th grader and score issues because of the inability to take the test, and they were, very pleased to know that the commission had made the accommodation so that the rising 10th grader could have those classes. So I want to remind everyone again, committee members and anyone that are streaming, if you have a question relative to this, we're going to provide email addresses at the end of the meeting. If you will get those to us, we will get those to the appropriate people and get answers and information back. So again, thank you, Chris. Thank you to the Georgia Student Finance Commission for what you've brought to us today and the work you do. Congratulations on the completion of your master's. I don't know if you all know this, but Chris Green, while he was doing all the work he does for us, completed a master's. He's one of our 2020 master's graduates from the University of Georgia. So Chris, congratulations on that.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
You bet. Moving on now, Commissioner Dozier, are you with us with the Technical College System of Georgia?
Yes, sir. I'm here. Can you hear me?
We can. You're loud and clear. And I don't know if you have something to show us. If you don't, if you did share your screen, if you don't, you have the floor.
All right. Well, I'm just going to take the opportunity today to just give you a quick update. I do not have a PowerPoint, so I'll just be here with you in person vocally, expressing my appreciation, one, for the opportunity to share what TCSG has been doing. I could not be more proud of our team and our presidents and our faculty and our students. It's just been a phenomenal, watching us transition so quickly in this time. And I believe it's something that yourself and the members of this committee hopefully are proud of. And I know the trust that we feel from you guys has just been phenomenal. So I want to take a chance to just share some of those successes we've had during a time of unknown. As I mentioned, one of our mottos during this unparalleled time is that we can't waver, and that it's neat. One of our colleges put out something, and we've just adopted it as a whole agency, that we train heroes. And what an honor it is to train heroes when you talk about our nurses and the frontline individuals during this event. And so we have a lot of pride right now that we just want to grow on and continue. And we are a team TCSG. Some of those things that we've done to support our heroes. The colleges have donated over 50 plus ventilators to the cause. We have offered and have been taken up and have been one of the backbones in transporting supplies across the state with our CDL trucks and our instructors. And I just want to thank those instructors and their willingness to take supplies anywhere that it's been needed. We have been across this state each and every day delivering supplies. We've also donated our supplies. We had a lot of things that we use in training, and it was a pleasure for our colleges to donate those things to the front line. Tens of thousands of nitrile gloves, hundreds of N95 masks, gowns, hand sanitizer, and many other things. We even had one of our colleges partner with the local hospital and offer our daycare operation for those that were working the front line in the hospital to have a daycare option there close by. So proud of that college. We've also offered our colleges to be temporary testing sites. And until a more permanent location was found, we did have one of our locations used as a testing site. We've had some students as well as instructors take our training 3D printers. We don't have any robust production 3D printers, but for those local areas where we could, in a small level, we were able to produce face shields and some masks and other things through our 3D printers and really partner with our local community. It just goes on and on and on, the things that our colleges and our instructors and our students did to be part of this and continue to do. And I couldn't be more proud, and I wanted you guys to know that so that you're just as proud of your technical college system and the folks that work for it. It's just been amazing. As we look at our business, I also couldn't be more proud of how quickly and how nimble we were, just as you've heard from the other agencies. Primarily, as you can imagine, most of our offerings are in-person offerings. It takes a lot of hands-on as well as classroom for many of the degrees that we offer. But we very quickly and robustly moved to an online platform. And that's no small feat when you talk about 22 colleges and 88 campuses. And I believe we did it without missing a beat. I couldn't be more proud of how we made sure that we're getting students across that finish line, whether it was a technical education student, an economic development student, or a dually enrolled student. The colleges have really been nimble, and we've made sure that we got them across that finish line. Included in that online platform, we now have a portal on our tcsg.edu website. So if you go to it, you can actually see that we have a portal of all our online offerings as we go into summer and fall and other options. As we moved into that, we also know that we're kind of going to be, or we hope to be, and we should be, the backbone to some of the re-entry of businesses, the revitalization of the economy. As new businesses start, new job opportunities are seen. We want to make sure on that economic development front, we're there to partner and give the skills. So we've offered some free online classes in the economic development area you can take. And the numbers have been pretty astronomical as we started that offering just a short 3 weeks ago, I believe. We've had over 1,907 individuals register for those classes, and we've issued 1,591 certificates of those free soft skill type things, just to get folks moving in the area of increasing their skill set and being prepared to go back into the workforce. Very proud of that. Along with those efforts, we've not stopped some of the new job opportunities that we know that are out there. We have launched a cloud computing series of classes. Columbus has done a great job with that and several others. We've started the programming and we'll have ready by fall Apple coding. And we believe we'll have a FinTech course ready by fall as well. So not only have we kept the current courses going, we've moved forward with new opportunities. And as other opportunities show their face during this time, we're prepared to move forward on those as well. Some of the things we've done to remove barriers, as we already talked with student finance. For this summer and fall, we have temporarily suspended the AccuPlacer. So therefore, folks can come in. We're an open entry college system, meaning you can come to us. But we did have a AccuPlacer test to help place you. For the time being, we're temporarily removing that or suspending it. for fall and summer. For some courses that do still require it, like the police academy and other areas, we've actually done some online proctoring of the AccuPlacer so that as the police academies get up and going around the state, which they did, I think, in May 1st, we're able to still offer that service. We've also suspended the official transcript requirements, and we're taking unofficial transcripts, and we'll come back and get those official ones when it's more readily available. In the adult ed side, I'm very proud of what we've done in that area, and I believe that we are leading the way. As we testified toward the end of session, or the last meeting of session, we were moving toward a Career Plus solution. And what that means is not only can you take the GED to get a high school equivalency, but you can do some other things. Take part of the GED, you can get some real world service, you can come in and do some training, and a compilation of that will get you a high school equivalency and get you into that job market. The Career Plus has been very successful during this time, and we've continued to move forward. We've actually believe we're the first in the nation. We've gotten credit for being first in the nation of having an online intake process for adult education. Very, very proud of that. We've also partnered with our testing, DRC, to have an online proctor test for the intake test, and that is up and going. And through the governor's support and his executive order, we've been able to get the virtual notary capability applied to getting those folks registered to continue their adult education learning. So in the area of tech ed, the area of economic development, the area of adult ed, I believe the team members of TCSG have made this state proud and made you proud as a committee, and not wavered during this time frame, and really been very nimble to make sure we continue our process. We've also had great support from the TCSG Foundation. They have started an effort to truly try to make sure that computers are available for the online education. So very proud of the foundation work during this time. And then additionally, as you know, we do a lot of the dislocated worker effort partnering with the Department of Labor. And we made an application here a few weeks ago and were awarded last week $12 million additional monies to move out to our workforce development boards locally to get to those dislocated workers out in our communities. So you'll start seeing some press about that and awareness made about that additional resource to our workforce development boards. So very proud of that team too, as we truly try to help those on the front line that need the assistance. I could continue and go on and on about how proud I am, but I want to end with this. I do know that as the economy comes back into play and we see unemployment start going down again, TCSG plays a great role in that workforce development, and we're here for that. And I believe the work that's been done over the last 3 months gives us that foundation to not only provide education in the way we've done it in the past, but to do it in the way of the future. And we will not stop what we started here. We will continue to look at those shared resources, those efforts to have online across the state, and make sure the colleges are partnering together to have a holistic approach to making sure our workforce is prepared for the economic revitalization that's just around the corner. So I couldn't be more proud to be part of TCSG, and I look forward to working with you guys in the future and answering any questions you may have at the end of this. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Thank you very much, and thank you, and please pass our thanks to all the leaders of our technical colleges around, and to their, as you said, their foundation members out in the private sector that have been supportive of this. I know you guys have supported the mission to not only bring the modality of virtual education to your students, but you've actually supported the mission, on the ground during this healthcare crisis to help people that aren't well, that don't just need to be don't just need to finish their classes, but you've actually been boots on the ground, if you will, helping deliver resources necessary. We really appreciate that. I'm sure there will be questions, and I'm sure your organization and the leadership in it, and all of the teachers, many of whom work out in the industry and teach for you as well, will be very busy in coming months getting people back into the economy, because Georgians are ready to work, and they look for the opportunities to do it. So thank you very much. Appreciate your staff. Appreciate Neil helping us get this set up today. Neil Bidding did a great job working with us. So thank you very much. We'll move on now to the university system. Dr. Denley, are you with us?
Yes, sir. Yes, Mr. Chairman.
Well, there you go. You're in great shape there, and I'm going to turn it over to you. You can talk to us about how we went into the online modality in the university system and our student outreach and anything additional you want to share. Do you have a screen you'd like to share with us, Dr. Denley?
Let me see if I can do that.
All right. Well, you have the floor, my friend.
Thank you, sir. And hopefully you can see my screen now. So I kind of wanted to talk through really the steps that in the university system we've taken to adjust to this new environment. As you probably know, in the middle of March, the university system moved entirely to remote instruction. I say remote instruction because really that was the modality that we used. When we moved all of our courses out of face-to-face modality, all of our faculty needed to recognize that many of our students would not have access to seamless and dependable high-speed internet. And so whilst on the ways in which they took those courses online and using different kinds of learning modalities, we needed to make sure the faculty were aware of that and made the changes to their courses appropriately. We moved very quickly to issue refunds to our students. As you can imagine, we had students who were in housing, they had dining plans, there were various different fees that they had paid to us, that we were not able to now offer those services during the remainder of the spring semester, but we moved very quickly to refund to students the prorated sum for their housing, their dining, and those various fees. And as I mentioned, we also moved very quickly not only to just take courses online, to actually meet the needs of our students now when they were now back at home or in some other location. So first of all, we worked with our healthcare providers to make sure that students had access to telehealth, to mental health support services, both using virtual and also telephone services. We also worked using the public library system that is part of the university system to loan Chromebooks, laptops, Wi-Fi hotspots, all of those kinds of facilities to our students. They really would continue to have access to the educational resources and supports that they would need to be successful. That really took a remarkable number of different forms, and of course is ongoing as we move through the summer and into the fall. It's also the case that we changed the ways in which our students would be able to work with campuses around the grading that they might receive for their courses. So we extended withdrawal deadlines for students to withdraw from classes, and also gave faculty significant flexibility in the ways in which they would be able to give incomplete grades, and flexibility in the ways in which they would be able to take into account the disruption that students would have faced as they moved to that remote modality. Along those same lines, we provided very significant resources to our faculty and our students in going online to remote learning. So we quickly created what we called Keep Learning USG, which was a support structure for our faculty, some of whom had not taught in that modality before. So it was kind of step-by-step support to help our faculty use those new kinds of learning facilities. And similarly, Keep Learning USG, which was our support for students who had not been involved in learning online before. We too also created a new resource that we called Learn Everywhere, which gave just the general public, people in general, access to a whole lot of different kinds of completely free learning resources, completely free learning resources, textbooks, and materials which would enable them to be able to begin to retool, as we know that so many people have been displaced from their jobs in the disruption caused by the virus. And so Learn Everywhere is also available, has seen a significant amount of traffic, both from people who are looking to find free courses, but also people who were at home educating their high school and middle school and kindergarten students during this time. There in the beginning of April, we made the announcement that that all of our institutions would continue to offer their courses throughout the summer and the Maymester using this remote instruction format. Along those same lines, the Board of Regents approved no increase in tuition for the coming year. So we're going to keep our tuition flat, and then throughout the summer, actually, we announced that our institutions would significantly limit any kinds of fees that they would charge to our students. So they only charge tuition, and then only a minimum number of fees. So a significant reduction in the financial obligation that students find in taking courses throughout the summer. Looking ahead to the fall, so we are right now making plans for the fall, intending that our courses will be offered as using as much face-to-face instruction as safety and science and public health advice allows us to. So what ways we might be able to offer face-to-face courses, taking into account social distancing and all of the kinds of concerns that need to be entered into. I've spoken to you before about all of the work that we have around student success kinds of initiatives, and also new kinds of degree programs, and those continue. So we actually, our board just a few minutes ago approved 3 new Nexus degrees that our institutions will be rolling out, as well as all of the work we're doing around the Momentum Year. We're still committed totally to all of that work to enable our students to have full access to the educational needs that they need to take care of. And we're also looking hard at ways in which we too can provide the educational tools that people will need in the new environment. All of that, of course, is couched in expected budget reductions. We received the advice from the Senate and House, as well as OPB, to reduce our budget, and we are carrying out those plans. Part of those plans, our Board of Regents provided authority for potential reductions, and some of that may well be by using facilities around furloughs. It's already been decided that our Chancellor and Presidents will lead the way in that furlough, that furlough initiative, if it is needed to be imposed. To close, I'll talk about ways in which the system has responded, of course, outside the classroom. Our institutions have contributed critical medical supplies, masks, and PPE. We certainly have provided the ability to provide testing. Albany State has provided housing for traveling nurses. A number of our institutions have been involved in using 3D printing to create face shields and various different kinds of masks and other kinds of PPE. Our research institutions have provided lab capacity to really help expand the state's testing capacity. And of course, Augusta University, our medical university, has really led the way in this effort by creating the virtual app that allows people to know whether or not they really need to go and get tested, and of course led the way in the ways in which we've scaled up testing across the state. So with that, Mr. Chairman, I'll hand back to you and be happy to answer questions that the committee provides. Thank you.
Dr. Denley, thank you very much. Thank you for the update today. And I just want to reiterate that you have been good. The Chancellor Wrigley and I have spoken, he and I have spoken, as well as Ashley Jones and Casey as well, about the outreach we've done to students. I know there continues to be concern of students in certain areas that were lacking in the technical ability that they may have needed. And I know in all the cases that you have been aware of, that we've tried to help that, and you continue to reach out to these students, and they have the ability to reach out through their professors, through their counselors, and through the process all the way up to the Board of Regents, the university system office itself, because we want to make this right. We do not want students, if they had a demonstrative situation, to be damaged in this process. Is that a fair indication of how committed the university system is to our students and the
Yes, it absolutely is. Yeah, absolutely is. After we moved to remote instruction, we were assiduous in making sure that we could keep track of each of the students in our system. We very quickly were able to establish that 97% of our students have reconnected and were involved in learning in the new modality. But clearly, that's an ongoing process, and we really do encourage our students to reach out to their faculty, to reach out to their institutions, and to reach out to the system office as they, if they have any kind of disruption that they believe has really negatively impacted their learning.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes without saying that, spring semester 2020, not just in the University System of Georgia, but across the United States and the world, will have an asterisk beside it relative to, the academic world as the rest of the world. So I appreciate that, and just want to emphasize that the committee members, if you have questions, send those along. We'll get those to Dr. Denley all the way up to Chancellor Wrigley. And we'll address those, but also any students that may be seeing the stream, take advantage of what Dr. Denley has said and reach out to your counselor, to your professors. Should there be an anomaly or anomalous situation out there with a particular class or element, we would want to know about that, because we want to make the best of a terrible situation that it's been for everyone to have to change in midstream. So Dr. Denley, thank you very much.
Mr. Chairman.
Members of the committee, this concludes our presentations for today. I hope everybody has gleaned some good information. I have continually been speaking with Chris Green at Georgia Student Finance, along with the university system, the technical college system, to make sure that we take advantage of what they are offering relative to our student population in these difficult times. So if you have any specific instances of constituents or constituent students that have issues, please email Sarah and I. If you're watching this online, please email Sarah and I, and we'll get the information to the right parties. And with that, I want to thank Brad Bohannon. I want to thank Chris Green, Commissioner Dozer, and Dr. Denley for your presentations. I want to thank all the members for joining us today. We will be back together sooner than later. I think we're targeting June. In the meantime, please keep an eye out. We will probably be convening another meeting virtually and try to work on the technology to have more of an interactive opportunity for members to discuss, certainly to deliver answers to questions, so that we can continue to serve our constituency in all of Georgia. With that, I thank House Communications, I thank Betsy, I thank Sarah in our office, Sarah Gallion, for helping us put this together. And we have no further items on the agenda. So I wish everyone well, be safe. And more than anything else, this is tough on everybody. Be kind to people. We may look at getting out or not getting out differently, but if we are respectful for what each individual needs to do to protect themselves and do our own thing without imposing upon them, Georgians are strong. We're going to get through this. I appreciate everybody, and no further business before the committee will adjourn virtually and otherwise. Thank you for coming, or for joining. I guess we didn't come out. Have a good day.
Thank you.